Oh, who would be a Wolves fan, eh?
Premier League is back, Wolves fans. Just the perfect preview for you. This is your Wolves Fan Captaincy Show in association with the Sports Social Podcast Network, FC Chris the from Boston. Joining me for game week 1, we're back again. That's so much seems to disappear. So I've got Josh Lem, OG, Gavi, I've got Ed Marshall. You know him. He's John the Vellegod's best fan. Evening, gentlemen. The Premier League's back. I know we were talking a little bit before we came on air. How are we feeling? Are we feeling exciting? Let's not worry about the state of the club at the moment, but we're excited that the Premier League's back. I know you are, Josh, aren't you?
Yes, I am. As I said to you, like before we come on, I was like, please, I don't want it to end the summer. And then watching the Community Shield last week, I was like, yeah, could do it back now. Something to do on weekends and that. So, you know, we're back to it again. 38 games of hopefully joy and everything great, but as we know, it's never gets that easy with Wolves.
And how about you, Gav? I mean, Premier League, we've had a little bit of a break. It doesn't feel like we've been away, really, does it?
No, it's come around quite quick, hasn't it, really, to be fair? Doesn't feel like pre-season was it too long either. Sometimes they can drag, can't it, pre-season? But I feel like it went quite quick. And, when you watch the Championship the weekend before, you kind of look forward to the Premier League night the week after then, after seeing all the championship games and all the goals going in, the limbs, the last-minute winners, etc. So, yeah, it's good to be back.
Are you ready, Ed? Are you ready for this? What might be another long slog till May? Are you ready? Are you excited? Are you anxious?
No, I don't know what the Championship is. I haven't looked that far down for a long time now. My neck doesn't go that way anymore, thankfully. Let's hope it stays that way. I've enjoyed the summer. I'm a big cricket fan, so the England-India series was incredible. But I'm ready for football to come back. Ask me on Sunday morning, maybe after the Man City game. We may or may not be different. But now I'm looking forward to second season, having a season ticket in God knows how long. So I'm just excited and glad I'm there for it.
That's fantastic. I mean, we're all excited for back. I mean, this is my first season away. Thank God for some people. I mean, they don't have to listen to me Molyneux anymore, I tell you that. But we'll get straight into it. I mean, as always, we don't really have any sort of lineup predictions for you to go with other than off kind of what we've seen in pre-season. Looking at our side first, Josh, I mean, obviously we've got the spine of the team is going to be pretty much what we know. But there's a couple of questions there. I mean, David Muller-Wolf's come in. He only got 45 minutes in that last friendly. Hugo Bueno is also involved there. Do we think that Wolf's going to be fit enough? Is he going to be sharp enough to play that first game, especially as against a side like Manchester City?
Yeah, I think the team that you've got, I think, will start. I know, obviously, like Lopez has played like most of pre-season, started every game into more or less. I think he will be dropped for Minetti because I think VP is going to want runners and just he's going to want bodies in there, bodies that are going to get back and things like that. And he's going to be saying like, "Don't concede a set piece," things like that. So you're going to put Minetti in. I think Wolf will start as well. As I said, I didn't really watch the friendly last weekend, so I'm not sure. I saw that he had a bit of a knock, and he was only planning to play 45 minutes. I'll be surprised if Bueno starts because I've got a feeling VP's not keen on him, especially bringing in Wolf. I don't think he's particularly keen, and I think there's not a lot else you can really do with the side after that. I think Mosquera's still a bit away from fitness. I don't see him putting Santi Bueno in at right centre half either. But I think it actually might suit us the game a little bit because I think in pre-season we tried to play high and a bit more expansive, and I think a team where we're going to have to sit in a bit more and hit on the counter-attack might just work in our favour, especially if like Arias and stuff like that, big spaces and, get the wing-backs going forward on the counter-attack. I think we got, it might actually suit us a bit more than what we was trying to do in pre-season.
Yeah, I think so. And I think there's a certain level of unexpected nature to these lineups, isn't there, Ed? Especially when you bring in new players, especially on the Man City side, they've done a lot of business early. Do we go into this thinking it's sort of a free hit because it's a big side, so early in the season? We might actually get some of that. Is that our sort of feeling?
I guess so. I guess that's the nicest way to go into it. I think we saw last year that Man City faltered, and they went back to passing for passing's sake rather than sort of having that killer instinct. And I thought we played quite well in that game where we were definitely robbed of at least a point. It was very early on last year, wasn't it, as well? So I don't think we can go in maybe we're thinking it's a free hit, but what we need to go into is knowing that we're going to be without the ball, and Vitor doesn't mind that really. It's all about getting the results, isn't it? That's all he's interested in, and coming away with a point, maybe stealing 3 points at the weekend is it's a possibility, isn't it? That team is full of effort. I don't know much about some of the new signings they brought in, but there's definitely some weak links there. I think we can definitely get at Nunes either as in the crowd, or we can get in behind him, I would say, and that one might be the only reason that I would maybe go for Bueno, just because he's slightly quicker, had a little bit more of a pre-season, so he might be able to push Nunes back, but we'll see. And it's of course the return of Leao.
Yeah, I'm definitely. I mean, looking at our side again, Gav, I mean, there's a few headaches for Vita. Obviously, John Arias has come in. We've got Marshall Monetzi. We've got Fer Lopez as well, a brand new player. He's got those sort of questions in that front three about who he goes for. And then the as alluded to with Josh, then for the fullback positions, we've got a lot of not settled natures this side at the moment. Where do you think that Vito is going to look in that first game of the season?
It's difficult. It's difficult because, if you're going off the preseason games, I think Lopez, since he's came, I'm pretty sure he started every single one, hasn't he? So for him not to play next week, on Saturday, it's that would be a last minute change of heart if he does that, in my opinion. So I do believe that Lopez will play just because he's played all the other games, and you kind of get a feel of what the team's going to be in that last preseason game, don't you? Because that is this team that they're trying to gel together to get ready for the start of the Prem. So I can imagine, to what you've got on the screen there, you've got Monetzi left wing. I can imagine Arias going there and then Lopez going into the right wing position. Other than that, it is how it has been all preseason, hasn't it? Hoover's played more or less every game again as well. I know that we'll probably touch on to the rumours that have come out tonight. But you can imagine Hoover playing there. Wolf, just like Josh said, he doesn't fancy Bruno, does he, at all? He hasn't given him I don't think can't remember if he's even started a game, to be honest. He came on against Lens. That was probably his first game back. And he's just coming on as a sub, hasn't he? So you can imagine, as long as the concussion from the Vigo game wasn't that bad, you can imagine Wolf's probably going to start the game. But other than that, I can't imagine there's too many changes.
No. And on a bit of a slightly away from the game news, Wolves so beautifully dropped something rather interestingly, and I think it's quite interesting for you, Gavin, because Cunha was heavily involved in this. I think you'll all know what I'm talking about. This is obviously the third kit that's been announced by Wolves on social media today. Unleash the Lobos. What's your first thoughts on this, Josh, as we see it? Because it's very Brazil inspired, and it's quite a beautiful kit. Matt Doherty, obviously, very Brazilian there, pushing the shirt.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I think they've done a really good job with it. It's really nice. I think as much as he is a bit of a knobhead, I'll give Cunha some props. He did a neat little job with the other boys, like inspiring that Brazil theme kit. I think it's really nice. I think they've done a good job with it. I think they've done a good job on all three again. I've got to say, I think they're quite clearer last seasons. Even the away one, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, and then I saw in person the Walsall ground, and I was like, that's really nice, that is. So, I think they've done a good job. I think it's really nice. It's something a bit different. I think with a third kit, you can explore a bit. And like last season's one, that purple one was a bit naff, wasn't it? Apart, we won some games, and I think it'll go down better in history than it was. But like I say, I think they've done a really good job with it. So, fair play to all involved once again, and using one of our own to design the kit as well. I think that's a really nice touch with it. Yeah. Fair play to the club.
Yeah, I think that's a good segue as well. as we've read, Ben Mortimer is the one who's been involved with it. He's a lifelong Wolves fan. I think a lot of people have seen his work and the work that's been done on some of the T-shirt lines as well that the Wolves are going to release. Do you think it's good again to see something where they're tapping into sort of the lifeblood of Wolves, Ed, where they're picking somebody who's a lifelong Wolves fan, using the skills and talents that are within our city to create sort of what is essentially a piece of artwork with this kit?
Yeah, it's a no-brainer, isn't it? When clubs get the locals involved, when clubs get start looking internally rather than externally, it gets the fans on side. We saw, didn't we, with Vitor, just going to the spoons caused maybe 2 of those 6 wins in a row last year with just the sheer sort of groundswell that it brings. And we are I'm not a Wolverhampton native, but we are a one club city, and it's one of our unique selling points, isn't it? That the grounds in the city centre, it's all walking distance from anywhere within the city, and the fact that it's a small city means that we should be celebrating a bit like what the guys did for the charity game. Right, what we did with Mind was brilliant, but we were finding something local that would benefit it. It's a no-brainer, and if the talent's there and we can see how good that shirt looks, then why not tap into it? It's an untapped market, I think, this area, and we need to, as the probably the biggest thing in Wolverhampton by a country mile, especially now Banks's has gone. It's the lifeblood of the city, isn't it? And that's why Premier League football is super important. And if we can make sure that we can, wherever we can, champion local people, then why the hell not?
Yeah, and I'll let you have the sort of a last word on this one before we move off, Gav. I mean, it's to see obviously all these, the lads who are coming in celebrating their culture. It's nice to have in sort of this time and age where we're seeing a lot of division in society to bring together different parts of cultures and bring them together into something that celebrates the players who've done magical things for our club and to bring a little bit of colour and life to our city in it.
Yeah, I think especially with the kit, obviously it pays homage to the Brazilian players that we've got in the team. And for them, it's almost like a bit of recognition for them, isn't it? To say, look, we know these Brazilian lads are here. Obviously, Brazil, big footballing nation. But it's kind of like a little nod of the cap to them, really, to say, look, you've done so well for us. It's like a bit of respect, isn't it? At the end of the day, if Moller Wolf does well and Larson does well, we'll probably have a Norwegian kit next year. The way it's going. But no, I love it. It's a great kit. And just touching on the point, the Sudu, it's 3 out of 3, isn't it, for them this year? I'd say even the goalkeeper kit. I haven't bought any of the actual outfield kits. I've only got the black goalkeeper one, and even that's beautiful. So no, they're doing well with all of them.
Yeah, I think so, and I think it's nice and refreshing to actually get something that's not a cut and draw, copy and paste from what you get with, say, a Nike or an Adidas. To have something that's quite unique to Wolves is quite good. Yeah. I've seen a lot of people mentioning in the comments about transfer rumours. I mean, the one that we've seen in the last sort of 24 hours is a guy from Hellas Verona, Josh. Hopefully I say his name right. Jackson Chatui or Chatua, right wing back. It's been a bit of a talked about position all pre-season because obviously Keon Herber's come back. He's had the opportunity to take the shirt with both hands. He's not really taken it, and Wolves have been knocked back on a few players. How do you feel about this new lad coming in and it being potentially sort of a third or fourth choice? How does that feel as a fan looking on?
I think it's quite hard to take. I'll get mentioned, like, I've never seen him play. I'd seen him rumoured to Forest and things like that, and I know a few teams have been linked with him. I think the key point that you said there for me more than anything is Hoover. Hoover never really impressed me, if I'm honest. The games I watched, every time I watched him, I think I'd say the effort's there. I just don't know if the talent's there. And in the Premier League, I'm all for, giving players a chance to hard work and things like that. I get it. But for me, you need the talent in the Premier League and stuff like that. And, I think as a backup, it's fine. But as I said to, of people I speak to, it's like for me, Hoover's the answer. Then the question's probably something to do. Who's our starting right wing back in the Championship next season? Do you know what I mean? And you look, and that is a serious drop off from Semedo. And I know he's been out on loan and done well on loan, but for me, Hoover's the backup. And the lad like this kid, like obviously seen bits of it. Like I said, I'm not going to pretend to watch him much. Like everyone looks good on the highlight reels, don't they? But there's it's where we're buying now. These sort of players in that sort of price range, like Wanlu, he's still not got to move to Napoli, and he's spoiled clubs in financial, got really big financial issues. He's still not moved to Napoli, and he still won't come. Do you know what I mean? It's like, what can you do? Same with Pupil, like you can't hold it against him for going to Atletico Madrid. So I feel a bit for the club. They've clearly like kind of gone down the list and gone, well, this is the lad. So we can only hope and get behind him and just hope he's good. He's not going to come in for the City game. I doubt he's in for the Bournemouth game. So he's got a couple of weeks to settle in. He's played at an elite level in the Serie A. So what we got to lose by like 12 million quid for him.
Yeah, and I think it's a good price point, and you ended that really, really well talking about where sort of the value of spending money is. I mean, looking at it, Ed, we've done really, really well, haven't we, in the last couple of windows in sort of that £5 to £15 million transfer. The guys who've come in, they've been for the most part positive for the whole time. The only one who's sort of soured it is Lamina towards the end of his career at Wolves. But it's something that we've looked in, we've found people who are sort of oven ready to go, and they've come in and done quite well. Does that fill you with confidence about Jackson coming in?
I think it has to, doesn't it? Because I think we need to know who we are. We've seen that, Newcastle over the summer have become some kind of a laughing stock, despite all the money they've got. They've got Champions League football. They can't hold on to their number 9. And no one else wants to go there. People would rather go to the basket case of Man United than go to a club that seems really settled with a hell of a lot of money. So I think we need to realise that this is where we are going to be. And if this was Brighton buying this player, we'd all think, well, he's going to be at Chelsea in 2 years' season's time, right? That's what we have to look at now is trust a bit of the recruitment, and hopefully we do some of what we do in January, but do it now. The window's not closed. We've still got 2-3 weeks left of it. We need to. I know Vitor's talked about getting 2 or 3 more players in. We know we're light. We can't go into the season with Hoover as right back, who didn't really set the Championship alight, and the backup being Pedro Lima, who we, other than having lovely hair, we've got nothing really to say about him. We need bodies. We need bodies in, and like I jokingly put in our group chat earlier, is Forbes still available? Because at least it's a man that may be able to sit on the bench. We need to realise that maybe we are a stepping stone club, and where we seem to be doing quite well, like Gav touched on, is that when you find players like we had previously, we're going to talk about him, Jota and Neves, and now Joao Gomez and Andre, people that really buy into the city, buy into the project, and maybe stay 1 or 2 seasons longer than they should, then who knows where we could be if this guy turns out to be anywhere near Semedo's level for the lad we're buying in, then why not? The drop off from Semedo to what we have currently at right wing back is a real worry.
Yeah.
And talking about that sort of strength in depth, Gav.
Yeah.
Vitor Pereira has obviously, as Ed said, talked about 2 or 3 more players.
Mm-hmm.
Where in your mind is, like, if you don't have to say names of players that you particularly want, but if you could wave a magic wand and you could fix 2-3 positions in the squad and add another body, where would you be looking?
I think, obviously we've got Jackson coming in here. That would obviously right wing back's a key position. I think we've all the boys have touched on here. Hoover, he hasn't set the world alight, has he? In pre-season, he's been given a chance. I mean, all's all up for him to come and have a go. Because he's had a good couple of loan spells. I think he deserves the chance to get looked at least in pre-season. And he's been playing the games, and he hasn't stood out, and he looked like he's going to struggle. But obviously we've got Jackson coming in, so you'd hope that covers that situation. I still think we need another number 10, another wide player, to be perfectly honest. If Lopez gets injured, is Minetzi going to come in? Okay. I think last season he did a job for the position that we were in at the start of the season, where we've got to be a bit more on the front foot. I think we need someone a bit more creative. If Arias gets injured, and it looks like Arias is going to be the one to carry us this year, to be honest, similar to Cunha last year. And if he gets injured, who's going to replace him? So I'd say, just off the top of my head, right wing back, centre mid, and another number 10 for me.
And I think Maximus right in the YouTube comments has gone very, very much similar to you, right wing back, centre mid striker. The only other one I'd be looking at personally is maybe another centre back. I mean, you've got to look at Mosquera, haven't you, Josh, and say he's not going to play a full season. He's not done it since he's been a Wolves player. He's very rarely done it wherever he's gone. Would that be another a problem area for you, especially with Matt Doherty being sort of and he's getting another year older and he's sort of around square peg in a round hole sort of situation?
Yeah, I think, but I'd probably be more for a left-footed centre half. I think, because I think it's a bit. If like Totti gets then injured, it's like you then kind of got to force someone onto like the weaker side where they've got to cut in, and things like that. And so I think I'd quite like to see someone like a left-footed centre half come in, and I think that's on the list from what you can gather with like what a lot of the journalists are saying. Obviously, I don't think we'll get them because we never do, but I think for what we're going to need. I've got to be honest though, for me, the big concern is central midfield. I think we need someone, maybe a slightly bit more front-footed midfielder. Because my big concern is like let's say heaven forbid Saturday, Andre goes down or Gomez goes down, the backup is Minetzi, and it's like that we can't be doing that, or it's Bellegarde. And I just think we need someone, we need a midfielder badly. Someone, but then it's hard to get guys. We found it hard enough to sign players for the first team as it is this summer. And you got to tell that midfield that comes in where you're playing second fiddle to Gomez and Andre. Do you know what I mean? It's really really hard for the club at the minute. I can kind of understand it, but then I also think you put yourself in this position when you sell all these players, and then this is what happens. We sell these players, so we haven't replaced them. We get what we deserve, but we let like Tomador go, who's not fancied, and then we bring no one in. It's what are we doing?
Yeah.
Talking about, there's a couple of players we mentioned in the YouTube comments there, Ed. Santi Bueno is one of them. Him and for me Fabio Silva are two sort of players who are sort of locked in limbo at Wolves at the moment. Santi Bueno obviously was going to leave last season on loan. That was cancelled right at the end of the window. And the information that we've got here is that Fabio Silva is available, but Wolves won't take anything below £21.5 million. But how do you feel going into it knowing that you're not within the plans? I mean, from what we understand, Fabio Silva, he's not causing any problems behind the scenes. He's getting on with it. He's just turning up to training, doing what he needs to do, and behaving. But how is you as an individual? How would you motivate yourself, knowing that you're not going to be part of the plans, or you're not the first choice when your career's on the line going into a World Cup next season? So, Fabio Silva with Portugal, and then Santi with Uruguay. What would you do?
I guess at this point, it's down to personal pride, isn't it? It's about being professional. I find the irony of Liverpool fans loving what Isak's doing to try and force a move when they are still calling Trent a rat is that irony is not lost on me. But that brings real concerns over his professionalism that I would have just as a human being, that you wouldn't want someone to do that. The only thing you can say is the old cliche of getting into in the shop window. If you get a chance, especially for Fabio Silva, who goal scorers make the headlines, right? If he can come on and nick a couple, and all of a sudden Dortmund or Roma or whoever it is comes in and offers us the 20 odd million that we want, then why not? All you can do now is hope that they remain professional. I really like Santi, by the way. I think I don't know if centre back somewhere we would need to worry ourselves. I think we've got enough in the squad, enough solutions, to use a Nuno word, to deal with it as best we can. Hoover can even play sort of right centre back if we get desperate and we do bring a right wing back in. Who knows? I think we've got enough rounded squares to put in some of those circle holes that if we need to get through. But we can't go into the season, for me, with one striker that is basically on the chopping block, on the trading block, as the Americans say. And we've got a croc in Sasha, who everyone seems to like. He's had an impact when he's come on and played a few games, but he makes Mosquera look like he's not injury prone. So I think we've got too many holes elsewhere for us to worry about, and central midfield is definitely where I would be concerned the most, because all it takes, like Josh said, is one injury to Joao or to Andre, and we are playing Marshall Manetzi in a place where he has to touch the ball, and I don't know if I can watch that.
700 quid. 700 quid. I don't want to watch Manetzi on the ball, mate.
No. You shouldn't get laughs
man.
from people that you sit around when you say you've done all you need to do now, pass it to someone else, which is what I was shouting towards the end of last year. You've got the ball now, give it to someone else that can play. It's 2025. You can't have players like that anymore.
No.
Everyone needs to be on the ball.
It's true. Yeah.
Talking about problems, it's something that it's not been confirmed yet by the club, but it's been reported that Toti Gomez might be the Wolves captain. But I've got a bit of a thing here, Gav. I mean, you can start with us. Whose armband is it anyway?
Yeah,
there's been no sort of cemented view from Wolves on who's gonna be the captain going into the season. Those are the three men who's wearing. I'm not going to put Jose Sarr on there because I'm the only probably batshit crazy person who'd give Jose Sarr the armband. But what do you feel about going into it? I mean, obviously there's a bit of an armband curse. Do we give it to somebody like Toti Gomez so that if we lose him in the summer with everything that goes on, that it's not as much of a loss as João Gomez, or what do you think about the leadership options that we've got at Wolves at the moment?
It's a hard one, isn't it? Because the captaincy can do so many things for certain players, can't it? So, for example, Doc's been here for God knows how long. Probably the most experienced, knows the clubs the most. Paul Block doesn't even have a song, so the least we can do is give him the armband for a year. But then if you give to Gomez, this is the other thing. Like if you give to someone like João Gomez, and it comes to next summer, and teams are sniffing around him, but he's captain and he feels that importance. He might stick around for another year, knowing that he's captain of the club. So you got that sort of way of thinking as well. I think Toti is probably the only one who has been captain that I don't really fancy. I'll be perfectly honest. I don't. As a player, I don't think he leads by example, as in like quality levels. Is he? Toti's one of those. He'll have an 8 out of 10 one week, and then the next week he'll have a 5 out of 10. So you want someone more consistent, and I think Drow would probably be more consistent on that front. But then vocally, none of them are very vocal either. I mean, you don't need to be vocal to be a captain. Don't get me wrong, but you still want one. You'd still want one that is, wouldn't you? Really. So it could be any of them. I'll be perfectly honest. I prefer Doc, to be honest. But it could be any of them.
Looking at it, Josh, I mean, this is probably the weakest group we've had in terms of, obvious leaders. And I know where Gavin is there saying about Doc. But do you think potentially going with somebody like Doc might be repeating the faults of Gary O'Neill and giving Mario Lemina when he was given it, considering he was not a nailed-on starter? And sort of what do you think about the state of the leadership group as Wolves as well?
I think it's quite an interesting point. My suggestion for captaincy would be Manetzi because it means he fucks off next season. But
he's captain of his country.
But on a serious note, like I think it's quite hard because there's a lack of clear choices. I think the one, if you'd have asked everyone the back end of last season, they'd have said Agbadil, I think. And it's a bit strange he's not had it once. Maybe it's because he's only been here 6 months, which is fair enough. I think it's a bit horses for courses, really. I'm not I look at it a little bit. It's a bit of fabric. Surely it's not going to affect your job that much. And I think as a team, you'd like to think there's enough experience within the side that everyone's going to take on a bit of role and a bit of responsibility. I wonder a little bit if it might help with a bit of a, like we did with Ricketts and Danny Bath, to throw it back quite a bit with, like, when we had Ricketts as like the club captain, but Danny Bath played regularly under Jacket in the championship season. It's like he was the on the pitch captain. Maybe something like that with Doherty, but Totty's going to play every week. I'm not too sure. But I don't know. I think I'd probably give it Doherty if it was me, just 'cause I think he's been in that long, and I think he's a legend of the club. But I said that last season, So, but like I say, it really doesn't bother me one bit. It shouldn't make a difference that much, really.
Well, coming to you on it, sort of end talking about this segment, Ed. What's your thoughts on it? Both guys have said Doherty. It's a bit of a strange, a delicate situation that it hasn't been given out yet. It's something that we thought we should have been done weeks ago. But who at the group? Obviously, it doesn't have to be the three here, but who out of the group of Wolves players in the squad that we've got now, who would you sort of be picking as that leader?
I guess we need to. I think just to address that point a little bit, I think it's mental that we don't have a club captain yet. 2 days away from the start of the season, this is worrying me more than I think the fact that we maybe don't have a backup striker, because this makes me worry that maybe we don't quite yet have that core that we think we do. I know it's all about leadership groups. I've played enough Football Manager to know that that's what everything's all about these days. But whether we believe it or not, the captain does mean something to both the player and to players. We saw under Neves, people would rally around him. We've seen Cody get all the plaudits for being like captain fantastic, and it means something to them. And the fact that we don't have that one player yet makes me think that maybe Vitor doesn't quite know yet who he is that he wants as his leader. I think to go back even further than Ricketts and Bath, we had Ince and Paul Butler in the first season in the Premier League. They both lifted the playoff trophy together, didn't they? Because we had one club captain, one on the field captain. I've got a feeling we're going to go down that route. It's going to be Doc that's going to be club captain, and then I personally think he's going to give it to Sarr in the hope that it calms him down on the pitch. We know he can be. We know he can be a little bit erratic. Shouting at people in the South Bank, kicking balls when he doesn't need to. That's a random shout from me. Is maybe he'll use it in some kind of, when if Doc goes off, or if we sign a centre back and Doc is maybe on the bench a little bit more. Jose Sarr, he's also one of the few players that we know is going to play every week. We've not signed another keeper. Whether we need to or not is a discussion for another day. We know that Bentley, Johnson, and soon to be Toffee, Tom King aren't good enough, or don't want to be here. So Jose Sarr is also a nailed-on starter, and unless injury happens, he's going to play every week. So he might be vice captain / on the field captain more often than not.
I'm glad someone's just as batshit crazy as I am.
Why not?
Why not? Yeah, no, I understand all the sentiments, and I think there's some good talking points. And I think there is that massive worry that we feel like we're not prepared and not ready for the season again, and that we're shooting ourselves in the foot. But for those watching on YouTube, you should be prepared. This is our ad break. For those listening on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts, we'll just have a quick little ad break, and then we'll be back with you. See you in a few.
Who would be a Wolves fan, eh?
Welcome back to game week 1, Wolves versus Man City in the Premier League. We've returned to your Wolves Fancast review show in association with Sports Social Podcast Network, FC Twitter app, and the Boston Coffee. I'm going to bring the mood down a little bit. Maybe I want to talk about, and you all know what we're going to be talking about. Great stuff, and each other that contract. there was a lot of rallying around ourselves and Liverpool to do something to cement his legacy and the memories that he gave. And people will have seen, for those who are sort of on the watching on YouTube now, you can see that the mural that has been done in Wolverhampton by artwork by Joe. The picture there from Connor 122002, and it's something that's been done to sort of immortalise everything that Jota stood for. And I think we already said earlier, and I think it was you, Ed, who said it's somebody who bought into the city, bought into everything that is about Wolverhampton. And Old Gold Pack, they're doing this fundraising campaign, and to have this mural erected near the ground. It's beautiful not to celebrate somebody's life, Gav, and somebody who brought some fantastic memories. You know, I think about the hat trick against Leicester, which was incredible. The one in Europe where he came off the bench, got a hat trick. He was an impressive player and somebody who brought a lot of happiness into our souls and hearts as Wolves fans, isn't he?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, like everyone, when the news broke on the day, you know, you kind of have to. I was upstairs and my dad he called me down and I read it and I thought, okay, this can't be our Jota. You know what I mean? Like, even though he played for Liverpool, he was still our Jota, wasn't he? You know what I mean? Like, I remember when he scored his first goal on his debut. I think it was against Arsenal in lockdown, and I was actually happy for him. You know what I mean? Like, he's one of the few players that I've left, and I'm like, when he scored his hat trick against Atalanta in his first Champions League game for Liverpool, I was actually happy for him. Where you don't get that with a lot of players, and that was basically just because of the way he acted and represented the club all the time. You know, he's someone that you see him around. I mean, my dad met him in Sainsbury's. You know what I mean? Some people don't even leave their houses. My dad met him in Sainsbury's. His wife, well, his now wife, she used to come to my gym all the time, bring in Neves' missus, Martinez's missus. They all used to come out together to the gym. They just got it. They honestly just got it. And I mean, it's heartbreaking, really, to be honest. Even just looking at the picture now, I mean, that mural is going to be brilliant, isn't it? When it's finished. And I get the privilege of being able to see that every day when I go into work. So, it was just, and I'm so glad that we ended up doing the mural for him, because it's not something that we really have around Wolverhampton, you know, of any player. So to have one in the city now, and for someone like Jota, I think it was very fitting.
Yeah, that's well said, mate. Honestly, sort of talking about this immortalisation of such a key figure in some of our brightest moments in our recent history, Josh. Somebody who, you know, for the younger fans, he's going to be up there. He's sort of that face on the Mount Rushmore of recent Wolves players, especially from the post era, isn't he? And I bet, you know, he's somebody who's means a lot to you.
The list of adjectives you could use to describe him, like they're endless. He, like, for me, he really epitomised Wolves, and especially Wolves in particular, that era of just how amazing that team was. You know, the determination, the biggest nights, you know, like the cup quarter final and things like that. He epitomised, you know, grabbing the game by the neck, and he for me, he embodied Wolverhampton as a city as well. You know, I think it's a really, like, you know, I think that I can't think of another way to describe him. He really embodied what we stand for as a club and people of Wolverhampton. You know, and it was a massive shame. You know, I'd like to think a lot of people know him as quite happy-go-lucky and things like that, but that really hurt me. That did. I went up on the day it happened, like, let some players for him, and then I remember I was like watching. I was just sitting at home on Saturday and seeing some of the pictures from the funeral, and it made me so upset. Just, you know, that we've lost such a wonderful person. You know, we did, and it makes me sad that he's never you might never know how much us Wolves fans loved him. You know, we all absolutely adored him, and he's never going to know how special he was. And I just feel so sorry for his family. Going back to it, you know, he's living probably the best 6 weeks of his life, winning the Premier League, winning the Nations League. Obviously, then he marries his boy girlfriend. It's just so sad, and you know, I just feel unfortunate I got to see him in a Wolves shirt, you know, and we'll forever be grateful for what he did, and I just hope we can all give him such a wonderful, you know, nod. Not just Saturday though, but forever, because that's what he deserves.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I'll let you have a few words as well, Ed. I know he's someone who you deeply enjoyed watching as well.
I think he was my favourite player of that era. He played football like you play up the park when you're like 15.
Yeah.
Like he twatted the ball. Like it wasn't all tippy tappy. All you have to say to a Wolves fan that knew that team, Jimenez and Jota, on a break, they didn't need anyone else. They did not need anyone else. It was like having two basketball players run up the court by themselves. They don't need anyone else. They're just going to overrun you. It's going to end up in at least a shot because of how good they both were. And Jota was just, I think Gully wrote a wonderful piece on it, Molyneux Musings, from where he came from. And you knew he didn't come through this shiny academy where he didn't, you know, everything was handed to him. You could see that in the way he played football. You know, everything was very bullish, to use a Wolves word. You know, he ran like he was never going to get to play another game, and every game you knew he gave it all. There was no way that he didn't come off the pitch, even when he was a bit streaky at times. But even in games, you know, some of those games when he didn't come off with the goal, you knew he'd given everything. He was an incredible footballer, and that was such a incredible time to be a Wolves fan, because we'd come out of some real darkness, hadn't we? We'd done the double dip, and we had this sort of new Fosun money, and all of a sudden we had these players that no one had heard of. And that first season, you know, he didn't even have the right name on the back of his shirt, did he? He had like his technical surname rather than the name he wanted to be called. And he gave it everything in the Championship. He gave it everything in the Premier League, and that partnership with Jimenez is, you know, it's up there with Much and Bull. And you don't say that as a Wolves fan light-heartedly. He was an incredible footballer, and you know, he handled his move with such grace. When Liverpool come calling and they pay the right amount of money, then how can you say no? And he goes off with all the best wishes, and he goes on to win Premier Leagues, to win cups, and it's just so sad that we won't see him again. But that's an amazing mural, and let's hope it means that we start to think about some of the other players that we can celebrate maybe around the city before we lose them in any kind of circumstances, even not as tragic as this. You know, there is definitely players that we can use this as a springboard to showcase what Wolves means to the city and what these players mean to us. And I think just the last thing I'll say on it is, when I went up the weekend, when the shirts came out, got my little boy his shirt for the season, and everyone's just there quiet. There aren't people taking selfies. You know, there aren't many people taking pictures, because it was a time for solemnness. It was a time to go, bloody hell, this has happened. And I'm really grateful that we get to say something as Wolves fans, because he obviously has huge links with Liverpool, and he has huge links with his team in Portugal. But it's where his name became known, and you know, the song is that his name's not Diego for a reason, because we wanted him to be known for who he actually was.
Yeah, beautifully put. And I appreciate you all saying some very kind words, and I know it's very sore in our hearts, even after the time that's gone since he sadly passed. But he will be forever remembered by us Wolves fans. I think, as you so rightly said, Ed, that we should celebrate our history and be proud of being Wolves fans. And maybe there's room for maybe some of the other heroes that you mentioned in recent years, like Jimenez and celebrating some of the stuff that's been done by them, and maybe there should be some more of that around the city.
Yeah, definitely.
I really appreciate it. Obviously, it just feels weird changing up the pace of this to talk a bit more about some of the other games, but obviously it's game week 1. That starts tomorrow night, weirdly enough, with Liverpool, who we've talked about, facing Bournemouth. I'll come to you first on that, Gav. I mean, it's a very difficult weekend to call anything being the first week of the Premier League season. But are there any sort of games that are on there that you're excited about seeing? Any sort of potential upsets early on?
I think Villa and Newcastle have got the making to be a good game, just because they're on an equal level, aren't they, quality wise? Yeah. Both not having the greatest of transfer windows either, so you could say that's a fairly balanced game. So that would be good for the neutral. I actually think Sunderland are going to do West Ham at home first game. With all the signings that they've got, but West Ham didn't really impress me towards the end of last season under Potter, to be honest. So I think Sunderland will be right up for that and see that as a winnable game. Obviously, we got our game at 5:30, where I know you didn't touch on it there, Jafel, but obviously they're going to be doing the TIFO and everything before the game for Jota. So I won't be there for the game, but I'm really looking forward to see how that looks, to be honest. And then on Sunday, you got a great game, haven't you? Man United, Arsenal. Yeah, that should be a cracking little game. Hopefully, Cunha's not playing and he's on the bench.
How about you, Josh? First game week back. What are you looking forward to seeing other than obviously the Mighty Wanderers back out of Molineux?
I'll largely echo what Gav said. Really, like obviously tomorrow night's game will be quite good. I think Chelsea Palace will be quite a good game as well, especially the game Palace gave Liverpool last weekend. See, I'm the opposite though, Gav. I think how many times do we see this story of the established Premier League team beats the newly promoted team that's made a shitload of signings? Like, it always seems to happen. But I do agree, though. I do think Sunderland, I don't know, the vibe's not there with West Ham at the minute for me. I think they stay up because they got Bowen. But if Bowen gets injured or anything like that, I think they're in trouble. But there's sort of, some good fixtures. Like you said, they are for Sunday as well. There's some really good fixtures there.
No, I agree, and it's a good way to start the season with some of these. I mean, Gav's already touched on the Villa Newcastle game, but there are some very, very good early season derbies, like the Palace versus Chelsea. I mean, Palace did very well last weekend against Liverpool. Ended the season very, very well as well. Who are you looking forward to seeing?
I think I'm looking forward to, in a weird way, seeing how Brentford look without Thomas Frank at the helm. I think they're a really interesting case. They've lost them, and Bournemouth have lost a lot of key players, even more than we have, and Brentford have also got a completely random manager, of course, in Keith Andrews in there as well, which seemed to come from nowhere. And I think also if you listen to anyone that's talking about football, they've already given Liverpool the title, so it's going to be really interesting to see how Arsenal kick off the season away from home against the Man United team, which they've invested heavily. Where they're getting the money from, how many more dinner ladies and people can Jim sack to be able to get them all in. But that front line now with Benjamin Sesko, as well as we won't say his name, Voldemort and Wemo up front. It's really interesting. I think there's quite a lot of things bubbling under the surface. We've even got, just to touch on the last one, Leeds are coming into the season not only as a newly promoted team that maybe haven't bought that many people, but Daniel Farke has already been given the nod that he probably doesn't have a job for very long. So that's going to be an interesting first game. And of course, Jackie Grealish and his silly hair is going to be probably getting his first game as well. So I think that's going to be interesting just to see how Ellen Road looks under the lights on a Monday night.
Very much so. New season, new me. When I'm doing these previews, I want to bring something in a bit new this season, and into something you might have heard or read in other podcasts, I want to talk about bold predictions. And every game, I want to talk about a bold prediction for the game. And I had to come to you first on it, Gav, because I know you're going to give me something good. So what's your bold prediction for the Wolves versus Man City game?
Oh man, Wolf to score.
It's a match made in heaven, isn't it?
Yep.
How about you, Josh? What's your bold prediction for the first game of the season?
I was going to say if Menezes starts less than 10 touches, but is that bold? or is that like
wishful thinking?
I don't know. It's a good question. A bit of me, if we're not going to win, then I could do Haaland scoring a couple of goals. That's not very bold. Should we have Ait Nouri to get an assist?
Oh,
I don't know if that's bold or not, but
No. How about you, Ed? As Max Wright misheard, bowls. What's your bowl suggestion and your bold suggestion?
Well, the 7-10 split's really difficult to do. Bold prediction: either Menezes, like Maximus Wright has said, scores and shuts us up. But if he scores, it will be off his backside probably. Ait Nouri to get sent off when I shouted him down the left wing. Nice. He's gonna get wound up, and he's gonna lose his little French head, and he's gonna get sent off. Let's go for that as my bowls prediction.
Bold prediction, fantastic. My pronunciation is, as always, is absolutely on point. That people can hear me clear as day. I sort of want to end today, as always, Gav. I want to do sort of a score prediction as well. Yeah. So, what you can give me a heart and a head, or you can give me one. What do you think for tomorrow? Not tomorrow, Saturday. All depending on when you're listening.
Head says 3-1 City. Heart says 3-1 City.
You, Josh.
Head says 2-0 City. Heart says 1-1.
Not bad. And I'll come to you last, Ed.
Both of mine says 0-0. I think Man City are going to be tired, pass the ball around a lot, and I think we're just going to sit back and let them have it.
Take that.
We'll take it. It might not be the best game of the day, but
everyone else could entertain me. The only thing I ever want from Wolves is points.
Yeah. As
Amen.
always, amen to everyone to that, and everyone who's watched, everyone who's listening on social, where you get your podcasts, Spotify, whatever you're listening to. Just leave this for those on YouTube. Just leave that Unleash the Lobos video back on there as well if you want to see that new kit. As always, we are on all social media. Make sure you follow Fancast wherever you get your news, whether that be Instagram, X, formerly Twitter. Like and follow on, subscribe on YouTube, drop a comment. And wolvesfancast.tmail.com will still be there this season. Hopefully, when things get settled down a little bit more within the Fancast and we can move forward, that we are able to release some more and new merchandise on there for you guys. But appreciate everyone who's come down, everyone who's been in the YouTube, you guys who've come in and talked to me today. Hopefully, Wolves start well on Saturday and can give us something to cheer about on Sunday when Matt Guy brings us back with a review show. So thank you guys for coming on for me. Thanks again. Thanks everyone in the YouTube comments. And up the Wolves. Come on, me babbies. Let's get that first win.